something that would be a very interesting study here. In 2 Kings 25, it mentions it. Also in 2 Chronicles 36 and in Jeremiah 52 were some of the articles of the temple. First, you could look into Leviticus or Deuteronomy or wherever it is, or maybe even Exodus, where it gives the details of the things that were to be made. Then you could look into when these things were also used or given to Solomon as details of these items and what they were made of. Because I know at some point along the way, certain things were taken, maybe, I can't remember what it was, and I can't remember the king that did it, but the stuff was taken out of there, and it was exchanged for brass. So whatever metal those original items were, they were switched to the same articles, but made out of brass. And, if the Lord reminds me, I'd like to do that search myself and find out, what those things were, how these things were originally made. I really would like to know of the Lord, over time, little bits of what each one of these things represented. And they all represented something that I believe that had something to do with the life of Christ and his ministry and his death and all those things. But, the thing that, and the certain things that were cheapened by being changed into things of brass. And I really have compared that in times past with God's Word being cheapened, over time, different versions coming out and weakening the very important things of our faith, the deity of Christ being one of the most important. But even just the changing of God's Word. I mean, God puts his Word above his name, as it mentions in Psalm 138, verse 3, or verse 2, one of those. And, here we are, just like in the days of the carrying away into Babylon, where a lot of the stuff that was taken was that cheap junk that got replaced. But the cool thing is that the true things, and this would be the final portion of this kind of a study, is the things that came back, the things that endured through all of that. Because these things were stored up in a storehouse, and then many of the articles were brought back. And it would be interesting even to know, were those all the articles of gold and silver? Or were there brass items that were brought back? What was it that was, what had to be recreated to put back in the temple when, was it Ezra or Nehemiah that rebuilt it? We'll find out. We'll be getting there again here pretty quick. Something else we'll be getting to pretty quick is Lamentations. But before that time, we got another little passage from one verse from 2 Kings 25, and then we'll get to Psalm 74 and also 79, and a little bit more from Jeremiah 52, then the Lamentations.